In this walkthrough video, I'm excited to introduce to you MotionCraft Texts, which is an ultimate tool for creating dynamic professional text elements effortlessly. Let's dive in and see how easy it is to create motion graphic text using MotionCraft in iClone. If you have bought MotionCraft, probably it's going to be right there in your prop folder, so you just have to go to prop and you search for your MotionCraft content. So you can drag it and drop into the scene. It's very simple. Or you can double click for it to enter the scene. There is slight difference between dragging and dropping into the scene and the double clicking part. So for you to drag and drop it means that you want to place it in a specific place. I want to drop it in the scene, so I am dropping it based on my own estimation of the scene. For instance, it's giving me option of using the grid here, so I can drop it anywhere, and that is where it is now. One of the good thing about MotionCraft is that it comes with letterbox. The letterbox helps you to arrange the text properly, and it comes with an inbuilt animation. As you scroll the time scrubber down, you find that the text reveals itself. So when you are done and you are satisfied with the setting of everything, you can just come here and set the box as a dummy. When you click here, the box will disappear, the text will be there. So that is it. But be very careful, like setting it as a dummy. If you mistakenly click and click on the text and go here and set as dummy, it is the text that will disappear, not the box, and I'm sure this is not what you want to do. So always be very careful about that. So you can bring another letter, which is this, maybe B. You drag and drop, and but one big problem with dragging and dropping is that you have to start aligning them in all axes. Sometimes it is fun to do so, but sometimes it can be a very trouble situation that you may not really like. So if you are not comfortable with that arrangement, you can use the other one, which is you just double click, the letter will come. If you are actually dealing with the small letters, so the way dragging and dropping works for the big letters will be different from the way it works with small letters, because we have here as capital letter, you can see that all the letters are equal in this axis. So the same space it takes here, let me draw a line here, from here, the same space it takes here. So at least on the vertical axis they are all equal, so it will be very easy for you to arrange these, and because you don't have to worry about one being bigger than the other one as long as the vertical plane is concerned, so it is the same size. But when you come to small letters, it kind of differs. You can look at these small letters, you find that B is on the vertical plane bigger than U. J on this same vertical plane is actually taller. That is because small letters have unique properties that other letters don't have. For instance, it has this. Now let me show you. The normal shape, the normal size is always this in the middle here. A corresponds to that, U corresponds to that, but J and B do not correspond to that. Now when you look at B, B has an extended will we call it antenna or whatever. So this antenna is called ascender. This ascender means that somehow B does not only have to take this shape, it equally goes up. So this line here represents ascending. Here, whenever a letter takes more to this space, you say that the letter has ascender. I can see it in B and equally in J, but surprisingly B has only ascender, but J has both the ascender and the other one below, which is equally called descender. So you can see that small letters have a little bit complexity surrounding them. They are not just that simple as big letters. So when arranging small letters, you have to consider these too. And you equally have to look at what is called the baseline. The baseline is the plane where all of them have equal stand. You can find that somehow the baseline is here, but this one is descending below the baseline. The baseline for U is different from the baseline for J. When dealing with small letters, you advise not to drag and drop but to double click so that they will take their normal shape the way they are. Let me give you an instance. Let's go here and delete these letters and put small letters there. Let's start with small letter. Let's go to area small. Let's just go there and just put let's start with A. Well wrapped in its own, and it is sitting on the baseline. Baseline is here. So now let's bring in another letter. Let's look at okay, let's do with D. So you can see D. Let's move it out so that we'll be able to see it properly. You can see that D comes in, it takes an ascender, but it's sitting on the same baseline with A. Now let's equally bring in some other letters. Let's go here. Okay, let's look at G. Let's bring in G. Okay, so let's spread it out to see. So you suddenly now see that G does not follow the baseline alignment of A and D. It takes a different place because it has descender. So but when you drag G and drop it, it might not take this shape it has taken now. Let's open it up for you to see. So you can see that G is actually sitting on a different baseline from D and A, and that is the way it is meant to be. But if you bring in G by dragging, let's drag it and drop here and see how it will look. So you can see that when you bring it in without double clicking it in to bring it, so you can see that it is now sitting on the same baseline with A, which is wrong. So in this case, you are now going to eyeball it. For instance, let's play it and see. So you can see that the G is now sitting on a wrong baseline because it is not meant to sit in the same baseline with A. The reason why it's sitting here because you manually brought it in, but if you double click it, it will sit properly on the normal baseline in which it's supposed to sit. So here you might say, okay, I can now, let me eyeball it, I can move it down until I get it properly, and this might work for you, but sometimes it can be a disaster, especially if you don't handle it well. You can even see that it is not in the same plane. So apart from it not being in the same baseline with this, it equally goes in another direction. So you can see that this can present a lot of problems, especially when you want to be precise. So in order to avoid that, always be very careful. You can drag in and drop, especially when it is just capital letters, but when it is small letters, avoid just dragging and dropping some of the letters. In our next video, we are going to talk about what the letter box contains.